Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on the weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Friday evening, January 5, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video, share it, subscribe and tap notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I post a brand new video. Feel free to leave a comment down in the comment section letting me know what that has been like in your area recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let us take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening. We can still see that the entire Atlantic basin is being dominated by ridges of high pressure across the northern section of North Atlantic, one right here off the east coast of the United States, and another to the north of the main development region. And we can also see that we still have two cold fronts plaguing the area, one right here to the north of the Caribbean, stretching all the way up into the northern section of North Atlantic, and another one to the north of the main development region. We can also see the broken lines associated with that trough right here to the north of the eastern Caribbean. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can see the clouds associated with that cold front that we mentioned that is stretching all the way across the waters to the north of the Caribbean, not to mention the clouds associated with the trough right there to the north of the eastern Caribbean. And we can also see that another cold front is starting to come into the picture to affect portions of the southern United States, soon to be the eastern United States. We'll be talking more about the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Friday, January 5, 2024. It was stated that we would have received some amount of isolated showers across sections of some eastern parishes in the morning, then spreading to sections of some central and western parishes during the afternoon. And for your information, we know eastern parishes we're talking about those parishes in the county of Surrey, so Portland, Kingston, St. Andrew, St. Thomas. Central parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Middlesex, so St. Anne, St. Mary, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine. Western parishes, we're talking about those parishes in the county of Cornwall, so St. Elizabeth, Westmoreland, Hanover, St. James, Trelawney. And although no post was made on our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok page, we can see that we indeed had that cloud cover, mainly across some inland areas of some eastern, central, and western parishes in Jamaica, especially northern Clarendon, sections of southern Trelawney, southern St. James, even sections of Manchester and northern St. Elizabeth got in on some of that overcast skies activity, as well as some isolated showers. And if we take a look at the latest infrared satellite images, we don't see much to report on. Not to mention the Cuban Doppler radar images. We still see some leftover greens that represent some isolated shores across sections of Manchester and the northern St. Elizabeth. If we take a look at the temperatures right now, we can see that we have 28 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 27 degrees Celsius in Kingston, and by about 3 a.m. on Saturday, the temperature should dip down to about 23 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 22 degrees Celsius in Kingston. For the GFS forecast tomorrow in terms of the temperatures, we can see that this map is showing 18 on Saturday. When we calculate that, that's 1 p.m. Jamaica time on Saturday. And we can still see Jamaica embedded in some yellows and some orange colors that represent 1 to 2 to even 3 degrees Celsius above normal temperatures. We know the normal temperatures for the month of January are about the same as 86.5 degrees Fahrenheit. When we take a look at the thermometer, 86.5 degrees Fahrenheit is about the same as 30 degrees Celsius. So we should be receiving anywhere from 30 to 33 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperatures on Saturday. As it relates to the dry air map, we can still see that we still have a lot of dry air plaguing the Atlantic basin. Even across Jamaica, we see all of those yellows and oranges, as we can see by the key at the bottom. All the dry air is represented by the yellows, oranges, and reds. As it relates to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Saturday, we can see that Jamaica should be in the clear for that time, as most of the browns associated with the dust from the Sahara Desert should be across the eastern main development region and Africa. As it relates to the wave forecast, we can see that both the Euro and the GFS models are showing a lot of blues surrounding the island. When we take a look at the key at the bottom right, the blues are representative of 1 to 1.5 meter wave heights, and that's because the winds are going to be coming in from the east or from the east southeast, that is, averaging anywhere from 15 to 20 knots at most, and with the upper level winds coming in from the west, that might favor more of those clouds to be off the east coast of the island, especially if we get some upper level clouds being blown off, those cumulus or cumulonimbus clouds, and with the winds coming in from the east southeast, all that moisture coming off of the Caribbean Sea into the land will definitely favor a section of eastern Jamaica, so maybe section of St. Thomas and Portland. And we can actually see this on the rainfall forecast, as both the Euro and the GFS are in consensus that there should be some amount of isolated showers affecting sections of especially eastern Jamaica, where we have that certainty in terms of the darker blues across sections of St. Thomas and Portland. What time is this? Is about 3 p.m. Jamaica time on the GFS. Euro showing something similar, but it seems to have more of those blues affecting sections of central and western Jamaica. But we know when it comes to these maps, we're looking for certainty, we're looking for consistency, we're looking for what both maps are showing, and we see that they're both in consensus that sections of eastern Jamaica should be getting in on some amount of rainfall on Saturday afternoon. So please ensure that you get that laundry done early. It also makes sense that the accumulated precipitation forecast is showing the most rainfall for the next 24 hours across eastern Jamaica. The Euro showing up to zero point 0.2 of an inch of rainfall. The GFS showing up to at least 0. Maybe 3 of an inch of rainfall across eastern Portland, eastern St. Thomas. So we'll see exactly how that goes. We know that when both maps are showing something similar, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. And we're indeed grateful for whatever rainfall that we're going to be receiving, considering that it's the month of January. We're in the dry season. We usually receive up to 97 millimeters of rainfall during this month. So we'll take all the rainfall that we can get before we head into the driest month of the year, February. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So we don't see much happening across the Caribbean at all, more so drier than normal. And especially considering that the CPC, if we remember in the past videos, the Climate Prediction Center was showing below average rainfall with all of those browns across the Caribbean. And I guess it has already started to come to fruition, with only the main clouds affecting sections of French Guiana, Suriname, sections of the Bahamas, and even sections of the southern United States, soon to be the eastern United States. Even if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, it's very much evident that we don't have much in the way of rainfall affecting the area. Not to mention the Barbados radar that's usually showing some amount of rainfall. We only see some isolated showers to the southwest of Barbados, maybe heading towards Grenada later on tonight. We'll see how that goes. Nothing right now across Trinidad and Tobago. As it relates to the wider view of Doppler radar images, this is as dry as it gets, not much rainfall at all to show. Maybe some isolated pockets of rainfall right there across sections of Suriname and French Guyana, even sections of Central Guyana getting in on some of the isolated shower activity. As it relates to the temperature forecast for tomorrow, we can see that this map from the GFS is showing 18 on Saturday. When we calculate that, that's 1 p.m. And we do see some slightly below average temperatures across sections of northeastern South America, but above normal temperatures should be plaguing anywhere across the Caribbean into the Gulf of Mexico for tomorrow. As it relates to the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Saturday, majority of the Caribbean should be in the clear, as all the browns that represent the dust from the Sahara Desert should be across the eastern main development region and Africa. As it relates to the wave forecast, we do see more blues than anything else across majority of the Caribbean, and we can see that by the key on the bottom right, the blues represent 1 to 1.5 meter wave heights, and that's because the winds are not going to be that strong, averaging anywhere from 10 to 20 knots at most, wherever we see those darker greens and brighter greens. And we know wherever we see those yellows, that's indicative of 25 knot winds or more, and we see that right there to the north of Colombia as usual. As relates to the rainfall forecast, this is as dry as it gets. We don't see much in the way of rainfall, more whites and grays than anything else. But we do see some isolated pockets of slight greens that represent some isolated showers across some spots, maybe sections of the Bahamas, Hispaniola, sections of Puerto Rico. We're looking for consensus. Where do we see the consensus? We see it across sections of Barbados, maybe sections of St. Lucia, sections of Grenada, maybe Trinidad and Tobago, looking southward to northern South America, coastal areas of Suriname, sections of Guyana, sections of maybe northern Venezuela, maybe even spilling into section of the ABC Islands, section of western Colombia, not to mention sections of coastal areas of Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and Panama. And we even see a lot of rainfall right there if we look to the northwest across the waters of the Gulf of Mexico associated with that cold front, not to mention sections of Florida and the northern Bahamas. I know that when both maps from the Euro and the GFS are in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching.